Welcome everyone to the Week 14 edition of the Three Man Rush DFS Smash or Pass episode. I am your host Drew, joined by my co-host Jared, who apparently needs to also start a DFS pod on the side with the for the
Well, NBA tonight. It's been
NBA with
I
the
got
run that you've been on lately. How you?
man, I got sweat going. It's a lot of fun right now. I've got looks like I'm gonna take down two tournaments tonight, and I'm currently in 15th place in the 50K, the first tournament on FanDuel. So, and that's with one single entry. That's unreal. Like I'm already just ecstatic to be that close to someone on one bullet on a 150 max. I normally just throw a lineup in that one, but I play a lot of single entry. So, man, it's been a crazy night. Oh man, that's awesome. That's
She's
awesome.
something else, man.
That's a
I,
keeper.
yeah, I'm the lucky one, baby. Thank you. Uh, yeah, that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
That's that's awesome. Apparently, we need to do a little NBA DFS show on the side because you've been not just this tournament tonight, but you've been crushing it in general. So,
Yeah,
um,
it's been man, like this last week in NFL wasn't too hot. Or no, yeah, it was I can't remember if it was this week or last week. I took down one for single entry for 1,000, and then tonight it's about three times that currently. So it's been a good little stretch for sure. But this is the week that I'll probably lose every bit of that. No, I'm just
hey, how about
that was
before we get into the DFS, man? How about old Baker Mayfield?
dude. So uh man, I'm not gonna discredit Baker, but that drive was awesome. Like, like he's not out there throwing a Cooper Cup or anything, or even not Robert
Allen
Woods, but
Robinson.
Allen Robinson. I mean, he's got Van Jefferson, Tutu Atwell, who is basically a special teams player. He looked awesome. He
Yeah,
really did. Like throughout most of the game, he looked good. I mean, there was some rust or not knowing the offense at the on several drives, but to go 98 yards in crunch time, that's unreal. I don't care
yeah,
if it's the Raiders
crazy.
defense or whoever's defense it is. Like, that's impressive. He deserves all the flowers this week for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, Landon needs an update. What we looking like?
Let's see. Do I even want to look? I may puke.
It's one of those things where you don't know if it's better to just stare at it or not
We're
look
in.
at it until the
We're
slate.
in. We're in first place. I just dropped to 17th. See, I looked. Uh, okay. So I'm winning 2,800 now. Oh, I went down $250, but I played $44 in this tournament. I'm winning 2,800 bucks. So it's a good night. If
Not a
Malik
bad
Beasley
night.
can somehow get hot, then if he can do something, then the night's gonna get a lot better. But he's kind of shit in the bed right now. The crazy thing is too is I originally had Kyle Anderson in this lineup, and then I was like, well, Beasley get the minutes. Kyle Anderson has exactly 8 more points than him, which would put me in the 50K tournament. I don't want to look at it. 8 more points would put me into 7th place.
Mm.
Yeah. So, but hey, man, I'm happy no matter what. And we're gonna do the same with NFL this week too. We're about to have a good week with some NFL.
Yeah, yeah. So let's talk about the players you're going to be, reinvesting some of that money in on Sunday after you cash out
Oh,
tonight. So, um, looking at the quarterback position for this week, smash or pass? Who we smashing on, passing on?
oh man. So there is a little bit of weather concerns in Buffalo. It's always, I mean,
Yeah.
it's Buffalo in December, so they're calling for snow. I don't know if it really makes that big of a difference as long as I'm, a crazy amount of weather. Josh Allen's in a really good spot. Um, I know it's the Jets, but it's also kind of like a revenge game because they lost to the Jets earlier this season.
Hmm.
So it's
And even though he
um,
didn't have a great game through the air in that game, he still had two rushing touchdowns, I think. And that's the beautiful thing about Josh Allen is he's going to get there one way or the other. So good weather,
yeah,
bad weather. good passing offense, bad passing offense. He's gonna figure it out. So
Yeah, he's pretty much a Swiss Army knife at quarterback. It's a rough slate for quarterback too. In all honesty, there's not a whole lot of really great options. Outside of that, I like Jalen Hurts. I mean, it kind of goes without saying. It's Jalen Hurts.
yeah.
Like he's in a good spot. I won't play this play, but I wouldn't fault people for doing it. Jared Goff's a good quarterback this week.
Oh, you better believe I'm gonna have some Jared Goff this week, man. Jared Goff at home, especially against a secondary as beatable as Minnesota. Those home Detroit games have been just offensive masterpieces with
It's
them
going to
and
be
whoever they're
really
playing.
it's going to be really difficult to not to fade that game. I don't know if it's possible because of the price points of these guys and the environment.
It's
And
such a chalk game, though. Like I think the last roster projections I looked at, Goff was projected to be the number one quarterback on the week in terms of ownership, and then
he's definitely the best
Justin
value for
Justin
sure.
Jefferson, Justin
Yep,
Jefferson, and Amon-Ra St. Brown were like two of the top three in terms of projected ownership at the receiver position. So like it's a chalk game, but it's a bunch of guys that in these situations just continue to deliver for you. Like every time Amon Ra's in a plus spot,
I
especially at
know.
home, he delivers. Justin Jefferson did have a bad game against Detroit earlier this year where Jeff Okuda shadowed him quite a bit, but outside of that, like his previous like 4 games against Detroit before that, it had 15 plus fantasy points damn near in those, like a 30-point game mixed in there, So and then, I mean, if you want to go on the other side of the ball, Kirk Cousins, Detroit over the last 8 weeks, Detroit's given up the most points to the quarterback position.
Yeah,
So I mean, like, there's just so much fantasy goodness in that game. So I'm cool with playing both of those quarterbacks. Um, I like Burrow against
yeah.
Cleveland. That Cleveland secondary has been pretty beatable. Um, Geno Smith against
Uh,
Carolina, I think could be
so
interesting.
I've got a lot of. I think if Kenneth Walker plays, he's going to garner some ownership coming off an injury.
And I don't
Um,
think Walker plays. I
okay,
think it's a long
I'm
shot.
it's a long shot. Even if he doesn't play, it's probably even better in that situation. Because I think everyone's like, I mean, for good reasons that Lions Vikings game is going to be popular, and Josh Allen's going to get some ownership. There's two guys I think that will go under the field this week that I think have really good shots to be in the optimal. That's Geno Smith is one of them, and he's easy to stack. You know where the volume's going to go.
DK
So
Metcalf.
yep. So you got two of your wide receivers out of the way, and a Geno Smith. You're probably total ownership of maybe 15% for all three guys. So you're already different from vast majority of the people that's on that one game. And then the other guy is, and the reason why he's so hard to roster right now in DFS is because where the target's going to go. Is Patrick Mahomes.
Mm-hmm.
Patrick
Got it.
Mahomes.
Every week, man.
It the hard thing with Mahomes is figuring out who you're going to stack him with. Obviously Kelsey's going to be the pay up option. And he's the best option you can have on that offense. But do you want to
Yeah.
pay up at tight end? So it becomes tricky. That's the reason why I think Mahomes would come in well under 10%, probably around 5-6% ownership, and he can kill a slate with his
And
abilities.
we'll talk about tight ends in a little bit, but I will say this is probably one of my favorite weeks to stack Mahomes and Kelsey because I think Kelsey's coming in only like 8K right now, and he's
Yeah,
not. I think that's underpriced for Kelsey.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think we'll obviously get to that point, but I look at Travis Kelsey as a wide receiver. I don't look
Yeah,
at him. It's almost like it's not quite the equivalent of playing Stephon Diggs or Justin Jefferson because they're upside, but this guy also like had a 20-point performance on like 3 touchdown catches and like 15 yards. Like yeah, he can get there in so many different ways that you know he's definitely in a good spot. So yeah, I think Geno Smith and if I can find a way to get to Mahomes, those are my two quarterbacks this week that I'm looking at.
yeah, yeah. I agree completely. One other guy that I will bring up just because Tennessee's such a
Well,
pass funnel defense. I think you got to bring up Trevor Lawrence too.
yeah,
We saw what Jalen Hurts did through the air and the last week against Tennessee. So I think Trevor Lawrence playing better as of late. I really like the. We'll talk about receivers in a little bit because Christian Kirk's one of my favorite plays. So Trevor Lawrence, Christian Kirk stack is one of my favorites as well. Um, what about any quarterbacks in particular that you're more nervous about that you're kind of staying away from on the slate?
Yeah, I'm nervous, and at the same time, like he's going to be low rostered, and he's in a spot where he can easily succeed, and that's Dak Prescott. Um,
Yeah,
there's
that
too
was my
many
number one
ways
guy.
for
That
there's too many ways for this team to score, and they're still a run heavy offense, especially if they're going to play Houston, which they should easily control that game. That game becomes really difficult too because which running back you roster, and they're both going to be popular. Like people are going to
Yep.
play one or the other, and I think there's just different ways you can get around not playing Dak Prescott. And the other one, oh, you said I like Trevor Lawrence too. I think Deshaun Watson's going to pop up in optimals again this week, and I'm not there to pull the trigger on that. It's not even a off the field kind of thing. I haven't seen it. The guy's been out of the NFL for 2 years, and I still feel like they're going to run heavy on Nick Chubb.
Yeah, and that's been the way that you beat Cincinnati as of late anyway. So you combine the fact with you beat Cincinnati on the ground and you've got one of the best running backs in the league. It makes a ton of
Yeah,
sense for Nick Chubb, who we'll talk about here in a little bit at the running back
yeah,
position. Yeah, it makes sense that he would get a good amount of work. Um, yeah, and outside of that, I think the just with the popularity of the game in general with the Eagles and the Giants, I think, some people might look at Daniel Jones as a way to get different. I would stay away from that as well.
yeah.
Um, the Eagles defense is just it's just too
It's
good.
it's too good, and I think they may have the lowest, if not the second lowest, team total according to Vegas this week too. Like that Eagles defense is fresh and it's getting healthy. So even Barkley, who I love all year, like he's been amazing. I'm not playing Barkley against the Eagles either. I'm kind of skipping ahead a little bit. My apologies, but yeah,
Well,
Daniel Jones.
let's
Yeah.
skip ahead. I think we covered quarterbacks anyway. So let's skip ahead. Let's talk about some running backs. So,
Oh, okay. I mentioned up
um,
four of them already. You mentioned some.
um, I mean, right at the top, now 9,000 most expensive running back on the slate, but Derrick Henry against Jacksonville, it's easy to understand why the dude averages over 100 rushing yards a game against Jacksonville over his career, over his career, I believe, if that's accurate, something on those lines. So
That's crazy.
obviously, it's hard not to like Derrick Henry in that game.
Yeah.
Christian McCaffrey, we saw a shift with Brock Purdy under center that they basically just handed the offense to McCaffrey. Um, so it's hard not to like him. And then right below him at 8,400, I think my favorite running back play um, might be Nick Chubb this weekend.
Yeah. I'm
But
with you, man.
his ownership is like whenever I looked at the ownership percentages earlier today, I expected him to be much higher. I mean, his
Yeah.
price came down like 1,200 from last week, and
I think
the matchup against Cincinnati is great.
yeah, I think the people are getting a little nervous because Kareem Hunt got a little extra work with Watson under center this last week. I don't Nick Chubb alumni. There's nothing to be worried about here. Nick Chubb's going to get a workload in this game. I think Cleveland's going to want to control the ball as much as possible, and they have a hard time stopping the run. So, in order to keep Burrow and that offense off the field, they're going to run heavy. It's going to be a Nick Chubb kind of day. Similar to Josh Jacobs last night, last night, I could see him easily touching the ball almost 20 times in the first half. Like I just think it's going to be those kind of things. Watson's not ready to be out there.
Yeah, I would agree, and I'll tell you. So I'll give you my two favorite running back plays this week. That Nick Chubb was one of them. The other one is DeAndre Swift. Man,
Yeah,
he's finally starting to come off the injury report during the week. He's not carrying questionable tags into the games anymore. Um, and this Vikings defense, this is the like Amon-Ra St. Brown, Justin Jefferson, Jared Goff are really popular pieces of this game. DeAndre Swift is where I still like I want to be involved with this game, but that's where I want to attack it at. I think it's probably my favorite spot to hit this game just with the way the Vikings play defense. They basically just ask you to dump it off to the running back,
Yep.
and Jared Goff will gladly do so. And DeAndre
Yep.
Swift is great with the ball once it happens. Like if you look at the Vikings recently, some games they've had against running backs that are capable of catching passes. Tony Pollard had 6 catches for 109, 2 touchdowns. Ramondre Stevenson 9 for 76. Ty Johnson and Zonovan Knight combined for 11 catches. It's just funnel it to the running back position, and I'm good with that. DeAndre Swift's good with that. So I like that play quite a bit when I expect to be a high scoring game. Which would just continue to play in his favor as well. Shout out to Josh Norris for those stats.
Yeah, I'm with you, and I think I think Swift's going to be popular, but he's not going to be like on the same level as Amon-Ra St. Brown. Who, how do you get off this game, man? It's so tough.
Yeah.
But DeAndre Swift, I think he's coming in. What I'm seeing right now, currently like 16%, where Amon-Ra St. Brown is coming in at like 22. I think there's ways you can play that game if you're hell bent on playing it. You're gonna have to get a little creative. If you want to do a Jared Goff stack, you may do a DeAndre Swift and count on him being a pass catching back, and then running back with DJ Shark, just to get off a little bit of chalk, play some different things, and then pay up for an elite receiver on the same level as Amon-Ra St. Brown. But yeah, I'm with you on Swift. It'll probably be Jamal Williams because we know how things go.
Yeah, I know.
So
Oh man, those touchdowns.
he breaks the slate. He has 4 rushing touchdowns in the first quarter, and everyone's just licking their wounds like they do every week. But I think Swift is probably my second favorite or my third favorite running back on the slate.
Okay, so who else would you have above him?
So this is gonna be a dart throw, but I really like Isaiah Pacheco this week. I think it's one of those. It's a high scoring game. It's a Chiefs offense that he's getting more involved. He's getting the touches. Like there's no one else in the backfield that's touching the ball outside of Jerick McKinnon, who's catching passes. If the game gets out of hand early, if Mahomes gets up there and lights him up early, then Pacheco can easily fall in the end zone 2 times and pay off his salary. He's probably my second favorite option this week.
Yeah, I like it. Another one that I like quite a bit is D'Onta Foreman as well. He popped up on the injury report in the middle of the week, but it seems like he's going to be good to go. And that's Seattle again. The way that you beat Seattle is on the ground, and
Yep.
I would think Carolina would probably prefer to run the ball rather than to let Sam Darnold sling it. So, given that's what the Seattle Seahawks defense invite you to do, and that's what would be best for Carolina to do. I do like D'Onta Foreman as well. I think that he could be a good play. Miles Sanders, the Giants defense has been beatable, so if you want to get involved with that Giants Eagles game, you can always throw a dart at him. It's always tough playing Miles Sanders because Jalen Hurts, he can account for so many rushing attempts around the goal line, but there's been plenty of weeks this year where if you would have played Miles Sanders, it would have paid off. They run the ball enough, for it to go around, and the matchup is right. So, I do like that one as well. Anybody else that sticks out to you at the running back position that we play? Any more smash plays before we talk about some passes?
I think Mixon's going to be really popular, but it's looking like he's going to play. That's a good spot. Yeah. I think if you want to get different in that Minnesota-Detroit game, which I do feel like Detroit is playing significantly better against the run and what they are to pass, Dalvin Cook is going to be low owned compared to other key pieces in that game. Right. If I told you Dalvin Cook's going to be at a lower ownership than TJ Hawkinson and probably Adam Thielen, I would feel pretty good about playing Dalvin Cook.
Well, and I could tell you part of what might be driving that percentage is the fact that over the last 8 weeks, Detroit's given up the second least amount of points to the running back position.
They've played extremely well against the run.
So, that could be something to do with that. So I know Leonard Fournette popped up on the injury report a few times as well toward the end of this week. So it could have some people levitating over toward Rachaad White a little bit. Now, Rachaad White's a good player, but the San Francisco run defense is no joke by any means. So
I don't think I'm going to touch anybody in that on Tampa's side at all.
No, honestly, outside of Christian McCaffrey, I really don't know if I'm touching anybody in that game.
Right.
Um, that yeah, that one's it, but I might throw a pass cat just in case if the whole look, I'm here for petty narratives, and if like the Shanahan's told Brady no twice, he's the 49ers were his favorite team growing up, and now he's going to spite them because they didn't want him. Like I'm down to throw a Mike Evans or Chris Godwin in a lineup just off of that narrative alone, just because Brady is like the petty king. But um,
I was
I
gonna say
think
if there's anybody that's petty enough, it's Tom Brady.
yeah, right. But I think the running game, I would probably stay away from. And then Najee Harris, I don't know, is Najee?
Um, I think he's active. I don't think he's questionable or anything this week. Who are they playing? Who is Pittsburgh playing this week?
They're
Oh,
playing
they're playing
Baltimore,
Baltimore.
whose run defense is tough. That's why I bring
Yeah,
his name up. It looks like yeah, he's not listed on the injury report for this week, but that's Najee's probably a guy that I might stay away from too. The
yeah.
matchup
I'm not on
is
the Najee train. Travis Etienne this week. I think he's a great player. He's the only option we have in the backfield, really. But if
that
Tennessee does
Tennessee
one
run
good
defense
thing,
is so good,
it's
man.
so good. Yeah, out
Now,
there.
ETN can still get involved in the passing game, but in terms of like what his running stats are going to look like this week, I don't think it's going to be good.
Yeah, I mean he can get involved in the passing game, but I if I'm going to play a running back at that kind of salary, especially, I want him to be able to succeed at both ends. If one fails, then the other one has a shot. Um, and plus, like I don't know. I think at that price range, there's too many options that are in much better predicaments, like Pacheco, who's coming in slightly under ETN ownership, who's in a better spot. I even think Miles Sanders in a much better spot than Travis Etienne.
Anybody else you want to highlight before we hop over to the wide receiver position?
No, I think it's pretty cut and dry this week in running back.
All right, so wide receiver smash or pass. We got to kick it off with the Monroe St. Brown. I put him on the YouTube thumbnail this weekend. That it's just everything is there for this dude to smash, man. Like
Yeah,
it's a home game for them. Detroit games, the offense always goes crazy. He's
yeah,
seen just over half his targets from the slot this season, where he's averaging 2.16 yards per route run. And then on top of that, the Vikings slot corner, Shannon Sullivan, leads the league in receiving yards and yak allowed from the slot. So Amon-Ra lives there for half the time. The Viking slot corner is just bleeding to the right to whatever receiver is there. That this man is about to eat this weekend. So I had to put him on the thumbnail, had to bring him up immediately. Amon-Ra St. Brown, I know the ownership is up. I know the price is up, all for very good reasons. I'm
oh,
he is good chalk to me this weekend.
yeah. I don't see how you get away from him. The price range he's at elite wide receiver price range at this point, but the matchup is there, and the thing is too, it's not like he's just getting yak. He's getting in the end zone at this point too. It's not just or FanDuel. You're relying a lot more on touchdowns, and that's the thing in the past that always kind of kept me off Amaron because the guy he's going to catch a ton of passes, he's going to get the yards, but he was having trouble getting in the end zone. Well, he's not having trouble anymore. And last week he should have gotten in twice. He got stopped at the one. But I mean, Jared Goff loves the guy. He's locked in on him.
Yep.
It's going to be hard not to play Amon St. Brown this week. It's going to be very difficult. He is definitely the smash of the week at all positions. He's a smash.
And then just going down the list here a little bit, a couple hundred down from him, AJ Brown. Uh, the Giants run man around 50% of the time, and AJ Brown has absolutely cooked man coverage this year. And then on top of that, I don't know if they have a healthy starting corner in that building right now for New
Yeah.
York. Their entire secondary is just beat to shit. Um, And so I think AJ, his big week last week, I think it just continues rolling this week. So I really both Philly receivers, AJ Brown and um, Devontae Smith. I'm good with firing both of those guys up. I
Yeah.
like those both quite a bit. And then another guy I got to bring up. I talked about Trevor Lawrence earlier. down at $7,600. Christian Kirk, man,
Yeah,
he continues to just absolutely eat out of the slot this year. Um,
he
the
was.
Tennessee
If you
secondary
think
is like
about it,
it's
he was worth the money.
yeah, yeah. He has been worth the money. He's been you know he's been a little up and down after his really hot start to start the year. Like there has been some down weeks, but I think that they should be happy with the contract they gave him overall. Um, but yeah, I mean the Tennessee secondary has allowed a league high 6.1 fantasy points above expectation and 17 touchdowns to wide receiver. Roger McCreary has manned the slot for most of the season, and neither like nor him nor the safeties are going to be slowing this guy down. So
No.
um, it's tough not to like Christian Kirk this week. I like that play quite a bit. And then Tyler Lockett apparently is just a touchdown scoring machine now. All this man does is score touchdowns every single week. Um,
I
but
think it's so hard to. In the past, we never wanted to double stack Seattle. I think you have to at this point. Even if one doesn't get there,
man,
the other one's going to blow expectations out of the water, and you're going to be fine
man,
either
and,
way.
and and Lockett specifically this week, like Carolina plays a shit ton of zone defense, and Tyler Lockett eats zone defenses alive and just finds
He
the open
sure
spots
does.
nonstop. And so I love Tyler Lockett. There's a lot of slot guys I like this week, man. Like Amon-Ra St. Brown, Christian Kirk, Tyler Lockett. These guys, they're Cooper Cup may have went down, but these guys are holding
We're
it together for
representing.
the slot receivers. Yeah, they're holding it down. Um, so yeah, I like those guys quite a bit, man.
Yeah,
Um,
I think if you're wanting to get someone off the Amon St. Brown chalk, there's two options for you, and it's one involves paying $100 more for Jamar Chase, who is at 6% ownership, which is insane.
and he was involved a shit ton right off the rip last week. Like
Yeah,
he's back.
yeah. So I think that's your leverage if you're looking to get off of the St. Brown chalk. Um, and the other option is actually, um, I don't think this is a hold up. The other option is Stephon Diggs for $100 cheaper at 10% lower ownership, unless
Yeah,
the Buffalo weather. I haven't looked at it. I heard there might be snow, but it's going to have to be something pretty catastrophic for it really to affect the game too much. Um, but that's your only options off Amon St. Brown, and you could probably, if you want to play St. Brown and find some cheap pieces, you could probably play one of those two guys with him.
yeah, yeah. Absolutely, you could. Um, any receivers that sticks out for you in terms of whether it's high ownership guys or just guys based off matchup that you're kind of wanting to stay away from? Because there's a couple guys that I'm nervous about this weekend.
Yeah, it goes back to the Prescott statement from earlier. I think CD Lamb is too risky with them playing Houston, the game total being what it is now. How I mean, he could easily have two touchdowns at halftime, and we all look stupid. And
Yeah,
Dax just went out there and had a field day all day on Houston. But to me, it's too risky because you don't know where the scores are coming from. So he's a fade for me. The other one, it's not a killer risk or anything, but because the price tag. But DJ Moore is going to be super popular this week against Seattle too, and I think DJ Moore is a great receiver. I just don't trust any quarterback situation he has, even though he's looked
yeah,
good for 2 weeks in a row. It's too hard at 20%
yeah.
to play him like DJ Moore.
20% is what makes it tough because like Sam Darnold really has been the best thing for DJ Moore over the last few years, like
Oh
compared
yeah,
to every other quarterback they brought in there in terms of DJ Moore's production. Darnold's been the guy for him, but yeah, the high ownership is tough. Another guy for me, Tre'Davious White is only going to continue to get healthier and
yeah.
more comfortable, and Garrett Wilson, we're getting more and more comfortable throwing him in because of the targets he's been seeing. But that does make me a little bit nervous, considering the tough defense that he's going to see. And it's I like Mike White. It's the story's fun, but it does make me a little bit nervous. Now he's not going to have Von Miller coming after him, which will help to an extent. Uh, but
The
that
rest of that defense is
was
getting
nervous.
healthy though.
Yeah, Exactly. And then like Darius Slayton, he's been the number one guy for the Giants, but there's no way I'm touching a Giants pass catcher against
No,
the Philadelphia secondary. Darius Slay and James Bradbury have just been playing out of their minds. So I'm not even trying to get cute with any of that. Uh,
no.
those guys can stay where they are. Um, so those are a few receivers that I'm trying to stay away from this weekend.
I think Christian Kirk might be the play of the day. That ownership it stays as low as what it is, in that relationship with Trevor, like that's a great GPP, a great tournament play for sure.
Yeah, yeah,
He's
I
got
love
the
the Christian
upside.
Kirk play. What about how do you feel about Amari Cooper? We talked about Deshaun Watson's struggles. Is that a guy? He's somebody that I'm a little nervous about personally. But
Yeah.
he's been better at home than he has been on the
Yep.
road.
It's a
Uh,
home game, right?
I think yeah, it's a home
that,
game.
that determines everything with Amari Cooper.
Yeah, yeah. So he is at home, so that's working in his favor at least.
I think it goes on whichever narrative you want to take. If you're under the narrative that I'm thinking that they run the football a lot to basically camouflage Watson's rustiness for being out for 2 seasons, um, then you're not going to play Amari Cooper. Now, however, if you want to flip that and you want to play Deshaun Watson, who I think will come in with a little bit of ownership but nothing crazy, um, then I think it's a great stack right there because Amari Cooper is definitely his number one, and Cooper has flashed all year. It's kind of a shame Jacoby Brissett's not playing, to be honest with you. And that's like, I mean, Jacoby Brissett loved Amari Cooper and
He did.
Donovan Peoples-Jones for that matter too. Like they were good plays every week with him under center. I'm a pass on Cooper only on the grounds that I believe Nick Chubb is going to get a lot of work, but it could bite me in the butt.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Um, all right, so let's talk about some
Cool.
tight ends. And I want to get the big two out of the way because I feel like those are the
Yeah.
obvious ones. Like Travis Kelsey, he's underpriced off the rip. So if you want to find lineups that make him fit, I think that this is a great week for a Mahomes Kelsey stack. Um, and
Yep.
then and then Mark Andrews, man, he's down at 6,800 right now. And Lamar's not playing this weekend. And Tyler Huntley, I don't know if you remember last year whenever Lamar missed games and Tyler Huntley played, but he just hyper targeted Mark Andrews.
Yes.
Um,
It won people a lot of money.
yeah, almost. I think it was 29 or 30% target share
Yeah.
whenever Huntley was in the game. So, like Tyler Huntley, Mark Andrews, I think you could have some fun with that.
Oh yeah.
I do like Mark Andrews this week, and it could be, if there are people out there that don't remember the Tyler Huntley games from last year, I think that you might be
Go
able to
look
take
it up.
advantage of Mark Andrews this week.
Yeah.
So
It. I think it's a good stack for a lot of reasons too. One, Tyler Huntley's going to be 7K on FanDuel. That's dirt cheap for a quarterback
yeah,
in a position. Sometimes really doesn't matter. If anything, last week kind of proved that where Mahomes was the highest priced quarterback. I think he was the sixth or seventh total fantasy quarterback for the entire week. It's a vulnerable position where you, as long as you're not playing just anything in there, like I don't know. I feel like the ceiling's going to be with the wide receivers this week in those dome games, especially. Huntley's a great play, and he's at like 2% ownership, and then you can turn around and put Mark Andrews with him, who is at a whopping 6% ownership. So your stack comes in right at 8%.
I love
Um,
it.
yeah, I mean and it frees you up to do so many things too with paying down at quarterback. Um, and Huntley can run. That's the other thing about him too. Like he's not Lamar Jackson, but he's got some mobility. And if him and Andrews are clicking like they did last season, and it's very likely because their wide receiving core is still next to nothing,
Right.
it could be a smash.
Absolutely, man. Another guy I want to point out. If you just want to get dirt cheap at the position, and I made a lineup like this that I had the Trevor Lawrence, Christian Kirk stack, and I was like, man, where do I want to bring it back at?
Mm-hmm.
From Tennessee, and the rookie tight end, man. I'm going to butcher
You
his
good,
last name.
Conway?
Huh?
Chiga Conway.
Is that how you say it? I didn't know if it was Chiga Onakamwa or how you say it, but
In
uh,
the DFS streets, we just call him Chig.
yeah, yeah, Chig is the easiest way to go about it. But $4,800, man. And
Yeah.
he's the the metrics on this dude, like post NFL Combine were off the charts coming out of Maryland, and then his yards per route run and things like that. He has a very small sample, but all of the numbers that you want to look good in, he's checking all the boxes, and I think
Oh
he's
yeah.
really interesting. Yeah, I think his price is only going to continue to rise as the year goes on.
Yep.
So he's a guy if you want to save some money, I think he's interesting.
Yeah, he's definitely a great pay down option, and I don't think Traylon Burks is going to play after taking that hit last Sunday against Philly.
Yeah, it was pretty
I think
brutal.
I don't know if he cleared concussion protocol or maybe I can't remember if he's hurt or well, he's one of the two. You're
Yes,
both
yeah,
wrong.
it'd be helpful if Landon was on here so he could tell us how to pronounce the dude's last name. We'll just
Chicken
stick to calling him Chig.
Conway.
We'll stick to calling him Chig.
um,
I thought it was on a
oh,
Kako.
you're
That's the
probably
best
closer
I
to
got.
me, man. To
That's
be
the best
honest
I
with you.
got. Uh,
We need some Titans fans to basically help us pronounce that because I'm not good. He's Chig to me.
Look,
That's
you
all I
don't got
got.
to be able to pronounce his last name to be able to put him in a DFS lineup, and so
Correct.
that's the part that's more important is being able to find his name and click on it and plug him in at 4,800. So if you're on FanDuel, you want a cheap tight end option. I think you could do worse, and
Oh
I
yeah,
love it. I love it as a really cheap bring back option for like a Trevor Lawrence, Christian Kirk type of bring back.
I totally agree. And to me too, like I'm either doing one of two things. Like I'm gonna pay up for Travis Kelsey, um, and then I'm gonna punt tight end. That's pretty much my strategy on the tight end position. If it's not an elite tight end, and at this point, Andrews, this could be a great week too because his salary has dropped so much. So like
Yeah,
if you wanted to get away from TJ Hawkinson, who's going to be popular because of the game environment, Mark Andrews is $300 more, and like not even he's less than half the ownership of what TJ Hawkinson is going to be.
right.
So that's a great option. To me, it's three players, and it's Chig if you're paying down, and it's Mark Andrews and Travis Kelsey. That's the only three tight ends I got on my radar.
Yeah, yeah. It's tough, man, because like I want to play Greg Dulcich because his involvement has been up the past couple weeks, and they Nathaniel Hackett came out and said that he was essentially going to give him a wide receiver role moving forward. But Kansas City's also been tough against tight ends over the last 8 weeks in terms of fantasy points given up. So, but
Russ has been so bad, man.
Russ has, but they're missing weapons. Kansas City's going to put up points. They're going to have to throw the ball. Somebody's going to have to catch the ball. So
I
like
can,
the tight end position is so gross that I feel like you could do worse.
yeah. I mean, what's his salary on there? He
I'm not
can't
sure
be
what
that
his
high.
salary
I wouldn't imagine. Oh, he's
he's
54.
5,400.
That's not terrible. He's garnering a ton of ownership though too. He's almost at 20%.
Yeah,
Um,
he's been
that
super
kind of
involved the past couple of weeks. Man, 8 targets last week for 85 yards. Like you throw a
yeah.
touchdown in with that line, and you're sitting pretty.
Oh yeah. I mean, you're talking about a 15-point line just off of that alone, not even counting receptions. Um, I don't know. Denver, man, they are so anemic on offense, and
It's so tough to play anybody from Denver right now.
it really is. I don't have a good take on it. I don't think it's a bad play at all. I think they've got to throw the ball to somebody. They're going to trail in this game. Kendall Hinton might be an option at wide receiver if you
He's,
want
he,
to.
he makes me nervous, man, because he's
Oh
like
yeah,
he's
yeah,
chalky. He's like his projected ownership is like the third highest among wide receivers on FanDuel
yeah.
this week, and it's like
I'm just not in
like
on that. Wide
I
receiver to me is a position I want to pay up for.
yeah, I agree.
I think if you're punting positions, you're punting tight ends. Like you're not going to get cute and fade Amon St. Brown for, you know, to just to fit Greg Dulcich in your lineup or someone along those lines. Like to
Yeah.
me, like you're gonna pay down, you're gonna pay way down to pay up for these wide receivers, or you're gonna play an elite tight end who is basically a wide receiver in Travis Kelce, and that's pretty much how you go about doing that.
Yep. I'm with you. All right. Speaking of building lineups, you want to build some lineups?
Yes, sir. We can
Let's do
definitely
it,
do
man.
that.
Let's
All
build
right.
let's build a lineup on FanDuel real quick. Put one
Yeah.
together.
Oh,
Let me find
next week I will have a second monitor. I'm kind of pricing one, especially after tonight. Um,
it. Yeah. I
so in
bet
the
you are looking
future,
at some monitors now.
yeah. So in the future, I'll be able to screen share this with everybody. But Drew and I stick to like what we say we're gonna do. We're gonna play this lineup in at least the tournament.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
looking at which tournament I want to play it on right now. Let's do
let's
this
see.
single entry tournament right here.
What is going on with FanDuel tonight? Tournaments. At least the app's working fine, but their website's been, at least on my end, it's acting silly. But let me try this real quick. Here we go. What tournament you want to play, man?
Uh, I did the 20K single entry. It's like a $2 entry. It's 20K Sunday NFL safety single entry tournament.
Okay,
11,000
sounds good to me.
11,000 entries.
Let's go. All right,
All right,
you
what we doing
want
at
you want to lead
quarterback?
us well?
Um, so I know I want to stay away from Dak Prescott.
Yep.
Um, man, so I'm looking at paying down a little bit, to be honest, because there's a
Yeah.
few there's four guys in a row here on the FanDuel slate that really interest me. So you got Geno Smith at 7,700, Kirk Cousins at 75, Trevor Lawrence at 72, and Jared Goff at 71.
Mm-hmm.
I like all four of those guys. I want to have some exposure on all four of those guys this weekend. So of those four, do you have a clear number one or a clear top two that you want to play?
Hmm.
Geno,
Um,
Kirk, Lawrence, and Goff.
let's play Geno.
Geno?
Let's
Okay.
play Geno.
So then immediately going down to the stack, are we double stacking and putting DK and Lockett in, or we do want to do just one?
I
Because I
think to
know
get,
Lockett's my favorite of the two this
yeah,
weekend.
I like Lockett a lot too. I think for Geno to get there for us, we're gonna have to double stack him.
Okay, so are we double stacking with him and Metcalf, or are we going to go Noah Fant?
Tight ends gross. How much is Noah Fant?
Noah Fant is 5,200. Carolina has been tough against the tight end position this year.
Let's go with these wide receivers. We know they're gonna get targets. Let's go Geno double stack, DK Metcalf, and Tyler Lockett.
Okay. All right. So then where are we going first on the running back position?
Let's see here. Let's keep it in the same game. Go Devontae Foreman.
Okay. And then do you think we can fit Swift in this game and make it work? Fit Swift in this lineup and make it work?
Oh yeah, we can make that work.
Okay, let's do Foreman and Swift then. We're gonna have
Okay.
to save this wide receiver 3 spot. We're gonna have to save some money. We're gonna have to pay down on tight end. This looking like it might be a Chig tight end lineup.
Oh no, we'll do better than that. Tell you what, man, we're gonna do it. If we're gonna do it, we're gonna do it right. We are going to play Christian Kirk.
Okay. All right, so now we have 15,000 left to get a tight end, a flex, and a defense.
Let's go ahead and just pay down for defense. Get
Yep.
that out of the way.
Uh,
Um,
Cleveland against Cincinnati. No. Jacksonville against Tennessee.
those options are pretty rough.
They've done a good job pricing the defenses the last few weeks. They've
Let's
made it a
play
little bit
Tampa
more.
Bay against San Francisco.
Yeah, I
Tampa's
don't mind that.
defenses look pretty good,
The
and
Ravens in Pitt isn't terrible either. It's 2,000 more. If we end up having a couple thousand left over, might not be a bad idea to get the Ravens defense against the Steelers. But no, I like that Tampa Bay San Francisco call too. Okay, so now I still think we're in a position we probably have to pay down at tight end.
yeah, we're there.
I think we're in Chig territory here.
How you feel about David Njoku?
I don't mind David Njoku either.
I think we could fit him and still get a flex in. Or let's see.
I don't mind Njoku at all.
If we play Chig, we can get up to. Oh, I think we play Njoku, man. The reason why I say that, like, the best option if we pay down, our best option in flex is probably going to be like Darius Slayton, Michael Carter, somebody like that.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Yeah, I'm that's a pass. Let's pay up for Njoku.
The other choices are gross though.
Oh, it's going to be awful, I'm sure.
Yeah, this is nasty. I don't know. You could put Nick Whisper-Kikini in there at 5,500.
Oh, Jarek McKinnon, 5,400. Or
Yeah. Ooh,
Terrence Marshall.
I like Elijah Moore too.
Yeah, they're gonna have to throw the ball.
Yeah, I think, man, Elijah Moore. So there's a little. Let me find this little nugget real quick on Elijah Moore. See if I can find this. So he didn't have a huge game numbers wise last week, but weeks 8 through 12 he averaged 37% snaps, and then week 13 this past week he had 68% snaps, 76% of the routes, and he has 6 targets, and he's running out of the slot over 60% of the time, which is where he has had the most success in his NFL career. So like his usage is trending in the direction you want it to be trending in, and everybody is on Garrett Wilson, so I think Elijah Moore's a good way to get different off of that. So I actually don't mind that in that range there.
Yeah, I think it works out really well.
We would have 100 left over, which I think we would just leave as is.
Yeah, I've looked it over. There's not. I mean, the only other thing we could do is play both Detroit running backs in the same game, and that's not very optimal. So, yeah, I'm good with that, man.
All right,
great.
I locked it in.
I like that. That's some good pieces. It's locked in, my friend.
All right, let's pivot over to DraftKings. Let's bring it home here with the DraftKings lineup real quick.
All right, let me get her pulled up here. DraftKings. I have an unused ticket. Oh, DraftKings give me some free stuff. Let's go.
There we go.
Yeah, I've been playing there a little bit more. Not anything crazy though. Let's see here. Single entry. Let's play the Pylon single entry $3 tournament.
Okay.
The grand prize on that one's pretty good too, if I remember correctly. Contest details. Yeah, 5K up top. It's a pretty good payoff for $3. I'll start us off on this one.
All right, let's do it.
So, DraftKings, we want to say so. Let's play Huntley, man.
Okay. All right, so then we're doing Mark Andrews for sure.
Yep.
Okay, running backs. Uh, so I mean, full PPR. I don't know what his. I don't really play a lot on DraftKings, but DeAndre Swift, again, is going to be so intriguing to me with houses I think he could catch in this game. With DraftKings being full PPR, DeAndre Swift would be really interesting to me on DraftKings, especially if we're paying down a quarterback and we can afford. I don't know what his salary is on DraftKings, but
Swift, totally affordable, 5,800.
oh yeah, absolutely plug and play.
He's locked in. All right, so I guess a wide receiver. There's no one else on Baltimore. I don't think a double stack's necessary with Huntley. I'm trying to find this a good pay down option to save us some money. Man, I kind of like the Elijah Moore call on DraftKings too, and it's going to save us a ton of salary, 3,500.
Let's do it.
Yep. I normally pay up for that, but I think that'll save us a lot of salary to make some things happen.
Yep. Christian McCaffrey's another guy that's like with the volume that I think he'll get from San Francisco this weekend, a full PPR. Uh, he's another guy that is tough not to like. And then another chalk guy, but Amon-Ra St. Brown, full PPR format. Like, it's tough not to play him.
I think if we play St. Brown, we're going to have to play Jared Goff at that point and double stack him with Swift and St. Brown.
Yeah.
Which is not a bad option.
It's not, but we don't have to go that route, though. I know that would be pretty chalky.
What about a... How about Tyler Lockett at 6,500?
I love it.
Okay. Alrighty. I think it's a wide receiver, flex, or running back, whichever one you want there, buddy.
What about Tony Pollard?
Okay. He'll get the pass catching work.
Yeah, so like I think both running backs have good games against Houston.
Yeah.
And so with DraftKings format, just go with the guy that's going to catch the passes.
I think we're already a little bit different too, playing Elijah Moore. So,
right.
And Huntley and Andrews for that matter too.
Yeah, so get a little chalky with Pollard.
Oh yeah, we'll pay down at defense, and let's play Tampa again at 2,900. That gives us 6,300 between wide receiver and flex at that point. It's pretty good.
I like it.
You got anybody in mind?
No, I'm not. I'm just going off of your feedback. I don't actually have the tournament in front of me, so I'm just going off the guys you said are in the area.
Well, we're gonna pay up. We're gonna play Jamar Chase.
Oh, okay.
That gives us 4,700 at flex.
Okay, so what's some of the flex options there?
It's bad.
We'll find somebody. Who we got?
James Hasty.
No.
James Cook.
Okay.
I don't hate that play.
No, we could do worse.
Kareem Hunt. This is risky, but it's a high scoring affair, and I think everyone's going to play CeeDee Lamb. Michael Gallup's an option, 4,600. Jerick McKinnon. Robert Woods, and we're just DJ
Yeah,
Shark.
James Cook is kind of interesting. He got a little bit more involved.
Mm-hmm. He was getting quite a few carries too. Isaiah McKenzie at 4,200 frees up even more salary. Um,
Yeah, James Cook played 43% of snaps last week.
yep,
Led the Bills in rushing, 64 yards on 14 carries. Yeah, I don't hate that for how cheap he is.
I'm in on that too. We have 100 left over in this lineup too. That's so awesome.
Yeah,
Uh,
I don't hate that at all.
so it's Huntley, Swift, Pollard, Elijah Moore, Tyler Lockett, Jabbar Chase, Mark Andrews, Cook, and Buccaneers defense.
I like it.
It's a solid lineup.
Not bad at all.
Damn, there's still another
All
quarter
right,
left.
so well, so with that, we're going to wrap up the Week 14 edition of the Smash or Pass DFS podcast. Hopefully, you guys heard something that is beneficial to you. Hopefully, that wins you some money, helps you build some lineups, and have a profitable weekend. As we hope that we do as well. If you joined us live, we appreciate you hanging out with us. If you're listening to this back later on, we also appreciate you guys for checking it out. Make sure to let us know in the comments what you think, who some of your favorite plays are, some of your favorite fades or passes are this weekend. And then, while you're here, if you could like the video, we'd appreciate it. And then if you're not already subscribed to the channel, we would appreciate if you could do that as well. It's completely free. And we do this every week. We do kind of a real NFL football recap and look ahead to the next week at the beginning of every week. And then we do a DFS show at the end of every week. So, uh, if you guys want to come hang out with us some more when we do some more of these, we'd greatly appreciate it. But other than that, good luck to everybody. Hopefully, it's a very rewarding weekend for all of us, and then we'll see you back here again for Week 15 all over again.
Later, guys.